a good idea. Hi, everybody. Shadow Chick's already in the chat. Right on. Welcome, everybody. We are live in Philly. I'm here with Flake. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. I'm very excited. Everything's set up. There's crowds and crowds of people all around us, right in front of us. So this is a very different dynamic for a typical podcast.
Yeah. It's very, very different.
So
I'm just tweeting out that I'm here.
Everybody here knows you're here.
Everybody here.
But there's so many others that wish that they were also here, and it's a great thing too because, I never get the experience of being behind the caster's desk like you do. So is this the nerves that you feel flowing through me? How do I channel that to put on a great performance? Like, I need to know.
How do you do it? Well, the first thing you do is you push all the nerves like deep down inside,
right,
in your stomach, right? You make it into like it's like a white hot ball. You push it all in.
It's like some sort
of push
core.
It all in, and then you push it even deeper, and then you never ever tell anyone.
Okay, so all right, so just honing that into some type of diamond of like pure energy and sadness, and then dismissing it forever. I feel it. I know that that's the best way to go about this. You're the pro. You've done this more often, so I will take that advice. I will heed your advice, McBeard.
All right. You know what's really great about this whole thing is that the camera actually shows the keyboard. You guys can see how bad I am at typing. I'm like, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's true. All right, my friends. It's time for a podcast. Welcome, everybody. The British way of dealing with emotion. Yeah, just push it all down inside. Push it all down inside. Who's ready for a podcast? Yeah, let's do this.
Yearning to play a few rounds of Gwent. That ought to set me straight.
All right. This is a cool experience right here. It's Commandos Horn, episode 84, live in Philadelphia for Wild Hunt number 2. I am surrounded by an ensemble cast of some of the best and brightest North American Gwent community people. We have a lot to do and a lot to talk about, and I have a lot of people to join me. Flake's going to start things off. There's even more after that this week, live on Commandos Horn. Good afternoon, friends. It's June 15th, 2008. A great time for your weekly Gwent podcast. I am Dane McBeard. I am your host, and I'm joined today by lots of people. We're going to have a lot of people in this rotating chair right here, but the first person right here is my man Flake, host of the show that's going to go on tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Going to get started with the Swiss part of the tournament on Saturday, and then the finals, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. We're going to wipe that all out on Sunday, and we're going to put this belt right here. If you're listening to the audio cast, you can't see it, but we got the brand new Wild Hunt Championship belt, you know, in true American fashion, right? You put it on a belt. We might hang it from the ceiling. We don't know. But we're going to find out who is going to succeed Trinet as the king of the Wild Hunt, or is Trinet going to reclaim his championship? Lots of people returning here. I can see in the crowd right now. I see you, St. Kiwi. I see you, DG Thunder. I see you, Devildriven. I see you, Lock-In. I see you, Thrilling somewhere. Guiden's here. Red Rain is here. Lurtz is here.
Swim.
NoControl is here. Swim's in the back.
Swim's hiding around.
There's just so many. There's a lot of people. Amon Amarth is here. He competed before. Quillen Lance is here. Maybe you've seen him stream before. Obviously, I think there's a lot more people here as well. But it's going to be a great show. And this show is going to be mostly focused around talking about Wild Hunt Philadelphia, which is, you know, it's the biggest Gwent LAN event as far as community and people like kind of welcome in from the public and off the street. Like, there's nothing really bigger than this. Professional tournaments are very closed. We're at the studio. We're at the special location. We don't get to do that stuff.
Well, this is a different experience, right? And this sort of began as a way to include North America on the tournament scene, put them on the map, and give them something to play for. And not just the belt, but just, you know, the prestige and getting people from the North American side of the Gwent scene to play, to have a good time, to really put their money on the line and, you know, and their pride and all that. But it evolved way beyond just being an event of you know, just pure Gwent skill. This became a community celebration, a community gathering, and the tournament almost has become secondary to the fact that right now there's nothing going on competitively right now, But we have an enormous amount of people here. Dozens and dozens of people are just, having a good time, talking, chatting, meeting the streamers, meeting the personalities, meeting each other, because a lot of these people not just play Gwent, but they, even if they don't stream, they recognize each other in the chats, in your chats, in my chats, in Swim's chats. There's a lot of people here who are like, hey, I know who you are. We've chatted amongst each other. So great community involvement, a great feel altogether that goes beyond competition. It's community. I
mean, that's the thing, right? It's kind of like it's built from the ground up, really. Like you may not find the like the best and brightest on the pro ladder, and you may not find like the highest level of kind of Gwent Masters competitive, but what you will find here is a very warm and inviting community that North America has, and it is a pleasure to be here. It is a pleasure to come down to Philly, and I'm expecting this to be even better than last time, mainly because we are splitting it into 2 days. So we did a 14.5-hour cast, a 14.5-hour event that not only the casters felt, but the players felt. They're here all day long. You have to go out and get food and come back, and you're just sitting around. And there's obviously lots to do, lots to see. This is a live event, but 14.5 hours of anything is a lot, especially when it comes to high-intensity gameplay, especially if you're Trinet or Dr. Gur that went the distance all the way to the finals. They must have just been nuked by the end of it, playing at 2 o'clock in the morning, somehow making it happen. Well, it was awesome.
Now, there's some sort of sympathy that people gave us as casters that is like, how do you stay focused for this? How do you go and just muscle through 14 hours of broadcasting and being sharp and doing your casting? Now, I will say this. For you and for last time, for you, yourself, Joe, Lock-in, all who called matches. Swim, Shoe. There's so many people who actually, who called the matches on last Wild Hunt, and that is a difficult thing. For me, I did 14 hours, but let's be honest, I just run my mouth. You
do that all day anyway.
Oh my God, that's an 18-hour easy breezy, no problem. But for the competitors who made it to the top 8, to the top 4, and finally to the final table, that was excruciating, and it all became even better for the winner because all that, and no disrespect to Dr. Gur, who put on a good show.
He did.
It was a phenomenal showing, but I mean, Trinet just,
the 5 blue coin. The master of the coin,
yeah, the curse of the blue chair, the curse of the blue coin, the whole thing. But it came down to 14 hours and 1 prize. This time we've changed it up a bit. We've added a little bit more time and a different format for this one.
But it's also good for us and everybody. Like, we're talking about how this is a great warm community event where a lot of us are friends here. We all hang out after. We're hanging out during. We're hanging out right now. But the thing about last Wild Hunt, because we had a 14.5-hour cast that we started about 10 o'clock in the morning. After the cast, we get back to the house. We're staying at an Airbnb. We get back to the house. It's 3 o'clock. I mean, even if you're hungry for a party and you're a crazy person, it's the party's going to die. The party's already in its dying light when you hit about 4 a.m. in the first place. So there should be at least even more chance to be social here and connect with the community in this this dark time before homecoming. We huddle together for warmth in the deep dark winter of what's coming next. But I think good things are coming, and I think that this tournament is one of the best parts about it because we are in kind of a murky meta right now as far as the pro scene. The Red Dragon tournament did happen. We did see what that group of players brought to the tournament, but much like Wild Hunt in February, it's in a transitionary period where we can expect to see almost anything. We could see some of the craziest and wildest matchups that you've ever seen broadcast in a kind of like a fully functional tournament setting where you get to see both hands and you have the casters and all that stuff. So it's going to be high production value for a community event, and we hope a lot of people like to watch it and enjoy it. Yeah.
No, it's great. And you hit it spot on where a lot of the
Oh, when does it start? When does the show start?
That's a great question to ask, McBeard.
Not just me, but Timbo in the chat. Oh, no, sorry. Akame in the chat's asking when.
So, I mean, there will be some events that we'll be streaming either on your stream here with Commandos Horn. We'll do a trivia show later, possibly on my stream. There's all kinds of great stuff going on now, but the actual tournament will start streaming live probably around 10:15 to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. We're going to get people through the door early, get them set up so that at 10:15, 10:30, as soon as you see the countdown going, we're ready to rock and roll. We want to get as much Gwent going as fast as possible and as high value as possible. We're not here to sort of dilly-dally. We have a belt that we want to give away, and we want to make sure that people are not feeling stressed, not feeling exhausted. We want the winner to be a true Gwent champion.
Yeah, and it's going to be good. I think that we're going to see the Swiss is going to be pretty crazy. I think tomorrow's games are going to be nuts because the Swiss has anybody really can be on the showcase. We don't know the lists yet. Like I mean, you guys in the admins and everybody know the list yet, but there could be some crazy. I was talking to Guiden over there. He's not really paying attention, but he. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should just.
No.
I can't be talking. I can't talk about anything. What am I talking about? I can't talk about anything.
Exactly. So
because everybody's in the room. So let's just say that some people brought some spice, some people brought some good stuff, and we're going to see the Swiss part of it. It's going to be anything at all versus anything at all. Reveal versus shoot monsters. Who knows?
That's a possibility, right?
Yeah.
And that's the best part. And a lot of the conversation, again, there's all kinds of crowds around here, a lot of them being competitors themselves, and all trying to do that little extra psychological game of, so what are you bringing? Anything special? Trying to feel each other out?
What do you think is good?
Well, that's it. Just because you never know when they're going to face each other across the board, that maybe that Dagon might not be Deathwish, or maybe that Henselt or the Radovid or the this or the that, trying to get a little play on someone.
Yeah.
Perhaps that Arrakis Queen is not necessarily consumed.
We saw that last Wild Hunt.
We've seen that before.
Somebody brought Arrakis Queen, but it was actually a Deathwish list, and this was actually in Deathwish's kind of rise to power. We hadn't even seen it in an open yet, and then every open after that and every professional event after that, somebody brought Deathwish. So it was kind of like you may be seeing the next big meta deck, or the next concept at least, archetype maybe base concept into future tournaments today if you've never seen it before. So, this could be low-key your indie way of looking at what could be hot next. But, I mean, what else is there to say? Flake, what's the hosting going to look like? We're going to get things started. Obviously, you're going to kick off the show. We're going to cast the Swiss. But you're going to have guests on as well, I imagine?
There's going to be, we're going to sort of work with the format that worked last time. It worked well. There were some snafus last time, mainly because of the fact that we went pretty much 6 hours over budget,
And the Swiss is hard because you need to wait for every round to complete before you can move on to the next one as well. So you need to fill a little bit of time in between those rounds.
And now we're blessed over here because at Nerd Street Gamers here in Philadelphia, they have a phenomenal setup of great, production. The equipment is fantastic. The staff are exceptional, and they're just maestros.
Shout out to the staff here
Maestros
at
at what they do.
They threw this all together for me. Like, they made sure that I could have like a very comfortable place to do the podcast. We have all the sounds here.
Commandos.
We have it all here. So
it's amazing.
I got everything right
here. I'm gonna pull the veil back a bit about McBeard, and he walked in first of all, carried by four kind of like a harem of servants. And
I was on an elephant. Get it right.
Sorry.
You're thinking of Swim.
I
Swim had
apologize.
the I was on the gilded elephant.
That's correct. So he
with
comes
the trumpets. Remember the trumpets?
The red carpet rolled out. No big deal. Standard McBee stuff. All of a sudden he says, "Make me a podcast," and then essentially what happened was all the NSG they froze in fear, but that was really only about a split second before the professionalism kicked in, and they made a freaking podcast, and it looks phenomenal, just like at home, right?
I mean, they helped me with the green screen,
no,
and they helped me with the streaming.
But there's
they gave me a stream deck, which is actually super key. That's the most important part.
So the actual production, but from the hosting perspective, what's going to happen is, we're going to interview the winners when they come through, ask them a couple of hard questions, and some people of interest. But we want to make sure that the focus is going to be on the Gwent play, the uniqueness of the decks that are going to be coming in, and the figures in the community that have made this whole thing possible and who have made it a success.
All right. Flake, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
It's my pleasure, man.
We're going to rotate this chair, and we're going to get somebody else. And hey, Vishra, you want to come on here? We got Vishra, competitor from Challenger #1, one of the OG competitors here. We have Vishra coming in. And just while he's getting set up, I just want to tell you that this episode of Commandos Horn is recorded live at Nerd Street Gamers here in Philadelphia, but it's also being recorded on my channel at twitch.tv/McBearded. You can find all episodes of the podcast at Commandos Horn, of Commandos Horn at Commandos Horn podcast. Oh my God, I'm trying to read my own notes, Vishra. I can't even do it.
Come on, McBee.
At CommandersHorn.com. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, and other podcasting apps. Send your emails to CommandersHornPodcast@gmail.com or tweet us at CommandersHorn. This week's show is brought to you by our sponsor, the Wild Hunt Drakkar, because the more of us there are, the better the Wild Hunt is. Of course, it is also brought to us by our patrons at patreon.com/CommandersHorn, our Commandos.
Commandos!
Thanks, everybody, for keeping the lights on, the mics on, the podcast ad-free. I'm here with Vishra.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing, man? Get this up closer to you.
Okay, we're good. We're good now.
We're good?
Maybe they can hear me now.
My friend, welcome back to Wild Hunt. This is your second time here. You were here last time. You got to the semis.
Yep.
You went up against Dr. Gur in the best of 5, and now you're back. How do you feel to be back here, and how are you approaching this tournament?
Good. It's really nice to be back again. It's really nice to have just the LAN setting again. It's been a while. It's a great setting, and it's a great group of people overall.
Closer? I'm worried that we're not picking it up.
Okay, maybe they'll hear me now.
I'm going to make sure that you're on the feed at least.
Yeah, overall, it's really nice to be back. This time around, it's a little bit different than last time. We kind of had a bit more... it's been a bit more of a lull, obviously, since the last time they were together. So I expect to see some really interesting stuff this time, though. I don't know how much people are doing with regards to testing, with new deck stuff like that. What we'll see, but I think it's going to be a really good situation overall. I think we're going to see some, maybe not brand new decks, but we're going to see some innovations, I think, from the field overall this time around. Yeah,
because there's been obviously some huge nerfs, like the big titans of the tournament scene, mainly Brewer and Henselt, probably mostly. Got hit really hard. Alchemy's probably still kicking. We're expecting that Skellige still has all of their tricks available. But what do you think the meta has shifted to with Brewer and Henselt kind of taking a bit of a step back? Well, Henselt basically stepping off the stage,
just gone.
Driving home and going to sleep, but maybe Brewer's taking a step back. Where do you think the meta is shifting this way?
I think that in general we'll see a lot more of maybe some of the old school decks. We'll see stuff like Dagon, stuff that we haven't seen in a while. Maybe more full test if people are going to go the Northern Realms route.
I would love to see full test, I think.
Like, I don't think that Henselt has the same draw it had before, and it had things like Winch, things that gave it that edge that could let it kind of abuse as not a system, but like a certain card working that might not have been meant the way that it was. I think I'll expect to see a lot of Dagon. I'm not going to say anything about what I'm bringing because...
Of course not. Everybody's listening. Everybody is listening.
But I think that overall we'll see a lot more versatility with leaders than we saw maybe for the last one, or even for Challenger, for example, where you see a lot of monotony with the leaders overall, maybe with deck list overall pretty homogenous. I'm hoping that we see a lot of Shoop overall. No matter what we get, I'm hoping for
see a little bit of Shoop. Man, casting Shoop games, it's only happened once, and it happened at Wild Hunt #1. I've never cast a Shoop game since then, and we've never seen Shoop.
I want to see Shoop.
Oh, you know what? Shoop was in Red Dragon. I think some people brought Shoop decks. So Shoop has seen competitive.
Adzakov,
yeah.
I want to see Shoop. I want to see Johnny. I want to see
Johnny.
Uma's Curse. Give me just the biggest RNG fest possible, please, all of you.
You want like the interesting stuff to be on the big stage. It's just much cooler that way because you get the production value of like a top Gwent tournament, but you get like the decks from like the ladder.
We're just gonna get everyone who's gonna bring things like that are just like Consume and Axeman and
there might be,
you name it, just strengthen the line, the same thing. I don't want that. I want people to go full RNG fest this time.
I mean, TriNet won with an Axeman list, the full Dimoon Axeman list of last Wild Hunt. And Axeman never really made a huge splash in like Gwent Open, Gwent Challenger, probably because I don't know, like I'm not really sure why. It has very good matchups and a lot of long round, short round potential.
A lot of it was create, I think. Overall, Axeman's a deck that requires a lot of weather. It requires your opponent not to do specific things and create kind of through out of the window.
Yeah, that's true. So you see,
there's no more bronze mages being created out of nowhere. There's no more bronze weather clears being created. There's no more thunders out of nowhere. So there's a lot more openings for decks like that or mechanics like that. So something like Aridin that was kind of just beat out the meta by way of I can make a silver mage and just clear weather.
Yeah.
I think we could have a lot more of that, and there's a lot more room for cards like that now. I think Axeman is actually pretty well positioned just because of that, because a lot of those counters to it might not be around anymore. So hopefully.
It's interesting. I mean, it would be very, very interesting. I always have like, there was a meta where Axeman was so bad, so bad that I just I hate that.
And then the next one, it went from being Axeman is the worst deck in the game to Axeman is unbeatable and does 300 points all 3 rounds.
It was just so frustrating.
I don't want either of those anymore.
The beta has gone through so many stages of stuff being like way too strong, and I think there is definitely an Axeman.
It won't compare to like the old days when we had like Golden, PFI, or things like that. I don't want that again. I also don't want old Axeman, but I'm okay with them coming back
or old
again.
Neckers, or old Monster Nest,
no,
or promoting in general, or old Roach, or old Resilience. Like, we've come a long way, my friends. I mean, I know a lot of people have rose-colored glasses, but we've come a long way. In fact, Gwent, I believe right now this meta might be the most diverse ever. I think that releasing a patch that only nerfed really opened up the gate for a lot of cool archetypes. What do you think is going to be the most represented deck? What do you think is going to be the least represented? Let's say the least represented. I mean, you could obviously just say something bad. What do you think will be the least represented deck that could realistically appear, I guess, is how I want to approach that.
So one big thing that people have to remember for this tournament and for some tournaments that aren't just like major Gwent events off the Gwent Master Series is that we don't have any fixed coin flip here.
Yeah, right.
So,
there's no fixed coin flip. Exactly.
So things that we brought traditionally for actual Master Series events, like old Hensel, was brought specifically because it is a deck that on red coin is nigh unbeatable and can be played on blue coin. Like we brought specific lineups because some decks are good on blue coin, some decks are good on red coin. That's all at the window. We could wind up with straight red coins or straight blue coins. So you kind of have to build your lineup where it can be good either way. So that's something that you have to keep in mind here. So some mainstays that you'll see in the past won't really exist here. As for most played deck, I think we'll see a lot of Nilfgaard. I think either Alchemy or Soldiers are the two big decks right now.
They are, yeah. I mean, Alchemy seems better than ever almost. Like it's just, it can still push out crazy points.
It's consistent. It can answer basically. I think it's a very versatile package. It can answer you with Viper Witchers in any way that you want with damage. It has Mandrake to reset units. It can do anything that way. So it's just a very good deck overall. Soldiers likewise is a one that can pump out a ton of points. It's pretty consistent. It thins very well overall. So those I think are probably going to be the most represented decks. In terms of decks, I want to expect to see something with Radovid probably.
Yeah.
He's kind of been really quiet lately, and I feel like this is a meta where he kind of doesn't function the way that you want him to, even though Locke should be really good against decks like Great Swords you would think would naturally be good against.
Yeah.
Things like Death Wish. They have so much resiliency that his effect just isn't good enough.
Well,
And Ciri Nova, we've seen it a lot with Ciri Nova. She's gone downhill a lot since the last nerf anyway, where she's just disappeared from a lot of decks when she was the mainstay of decks in the past. I don't think we'll see much Ciri Nova overall. I don't know about a specific archetype. I don't really expect to see much of it this weekend.
That's interesting, yeah.
It's just one of those cards that fell off as time went on, and we've seen so many other decks pop up with so many strong plays. Like, we see 22-point sentries all the time now. It's a bronze that equals Ciri Nova.
Honestly, I thought that combo was going to take off faster than it did. When I saw, in Challenger 2, when we saw, like, when they revealed those last few cards, Slave Infantry and Sentry, I thought that was going to be, like, the big thing. Viper Witchers obviously took off like crazy because it was so easy to build a deck that supported it. But Sentries and Slave Infantry has always been on my radar, I think, like a Scorch-based build. But that turns out to not actually be how that deck has kind of risen up.
And we even saw a nerf to it. We saw that Slave Infantry got nerfed so the copies are doomed now, because when they were first released,
they
weren't
preemptively.
Doomed. Yeah. We even saw that they knew that was something that could be too good. So it's a situation where they knew this card was that good, and it's taken that card 6 months to be good now. But we're in a situation now where a 22-point bronze is insane.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it's good enough, and we'll see if people bring it.
It's interesting. Weather hurts that matchup a little bit, though, too. And maybe, oh, man, you could tech against it with Lambert Swordmaster. If I see a Lambert Swordmaster cut down 9 Slave Infantry, my day is complete. That's on my bingo card for sure.
I want that, or my personal favorite that I've ever done with it is when someone set all 3 of them up in the final round and then was getting ready to Sentry, and I did the 12-point one and destroyed everything under 4.
Oh, yeah.
It's my personal favorite.
The OG Draug effect.
Hits the Recruit, hits the Vikavar Novice. It's perfect. When you do that, it just feels so good. But we'll see if we see that. That would be perfect to me.
I mean, who knows what we'll see. It's really going to be pretty random. Vishra, thanks so much for coming in. Looking forward to watching you compete today
Looking
and
forward to
tomorrow and potentially on Sunday as well.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, dudes. Who would I like to talk to next? Who's available here? Where's Swim? Where's Swim at? If he's here, then I would love to have him. Love to chat with him. Yeah, right. Hi, NoControl. You come in here for a second. Come here. We have the runner of the tournament, the guy who's organizing the whole thing, admitting the whole thing. Oh, we're gonna grab him now. All right, here's Swim. Swim, you were having a little nap. He was having a little nap. Swim, we're not gonna take a lot of your time here. This guy. Oh man, are you motion sick? How you doing?
No, I'm good.
You look fantastic, Swim.
McBeard, I'm a little tired.
How about you put this on?
Oh God,
so that people can hear you.
Oh, this sounds so nice.
I'm gonna put this in my own chat right there. All right, Swim, how you doing, man?
I'm great.
You're great.
How are you, buddy?
I'm not gonna take too much of your time up. What are you excited to? Are you excited to cast another event? You've been off stream for a while now. You're kind of in a I guess. What would you say? A walkabout? You're kind of off stream right now.
Oh yeah,
What are you doing? What are you doing with your time? You haven't been in front of a stream. You haven't been on a Gwent stream in a week. A week.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna start my stream pretty soon. Hopefully next week.
You're not gonna stream from the event at any point here, no?
I might.
Stay elusive.
We'll see. But to answer your questions, I'm pretty excited.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. No. My hands are shaking. I'm so excited for this event. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
these,
it should be
these
fun.
ones are always great. They're always a little more casual. We like to take some time, have some fun.
Yeah.
Last time we had, just the environment with people kind of messing around a little bit, obviously taking it seriously, but being able to like just add some humor to it is great.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nice break because the casting is still you still have to pay really close attention, but you're going to see matchups that you don't normally see.
Yeah.
Like we saw, were we casting the shoot game together?
I think so, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah.
So that was last time. There was a Northern Realm shoot matchup that was super super close. But you basically, it's a more casual approach, I feel like, because you get to see like different lines and different victory conditions for different decks and matchups you would otherwise never see. So you get to explore that a little bit more, and I like that laid back the way that this North American stuff turns out, personally.
McBeard, I gotta tell you, the laid back approach is the only way I know.
That's how you know. That's the only way you know. Speaking of which, Red Rain's also here. Speaking of whoa. We got the chair. Wow. Oh, it really is.
Oh.
It is very
Oh, my
easy to
God.
fall. It is very easy to fall on
Yeah.
these chairs. I don't know.
Dangerous.
Look up Nerd Street Gamer's top clip. I'm sure that's the clip. I'll put it in the show notes. You probably will see that, the classic Red Rain clip from Wildheim. Swim, what do you think we're going to see a lot of? Because this meta is a little bit different. I just talked to Vishra about it, but I want to hear it from everybody. What do you think we're going to see a lot of? What do you think is going to be like the big star of the tournament, deck-wise?
Well, that's an interesting question because the thing you see the most of is the second strongest deck, right?
It's true, yeah, because the ban. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
It kind of depends. To be honest, I've obviously been kind of taking my break to get the move on, and I started this right after the patch. So kind of the meta of the new patch is a little unknown to me. But I expect to see a lot of Nilfgaard.
You think Nilfgaard, yeah.
I think the biggest question is whether people are going to be banning Nilfgaard or Greatswords typically, and Greatswords is maybe a more stable ban. Not necessarily a better ban, but a more stable ban, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're, it also depends on what you're targeting as well.
Exactly.
But, yeah, the landscape is going to be very different. Also, the coin on top of that as well. The coin does change, of course, what we're going to see. So what do you think is going to be the most popular band? You think the most popular band is going to be Greatsword or Nilfgaard, and then subsequently the most popular deck is going to be whatever one isn't banned as much?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And you think Greatsword's going to be Skellige's top pick?
I expect so.
Yeah?
But
Any
yeah.
particular reason why that deck is maybe stronger than something like classic brand ships or veterans? I guess veterans is probably the next best one, I suppose. I expect to see veterans, personally.
Oh, yeah?
I think so.
It probably, it's very, very flexible in this environment and kind of has a hard time being countered, I would say. But yeah, veterans and Bran are not too far off. They're all kind of in a pretty even field at the end.
What do you think makes Greatsword so good that they've been around this long now, since about Hannah-chan bringing it to Gwent Open number 4, or perhaps 3, that it's still so strong? We know...
That's a great question.
Yeah.
There's a really interesting thing happening with Greatswords. Greatswords is kind of doing two very unique things as a deck at once, right? It's very counterable, which is why it hasn't been around for so long.
Yeah.
But it's countered by specific cards as opposed to specific play styles. When you get to a high level of play, any deck that's countered by a specific playstyle, specifically, I'm talking not even just in terms of killing your cards, not in terms of anything, but passing at the right moment is a crucial counter to any deck. And we see that with these decks that kind of come on the scene and then players learn how to pass against them and then they go back down, right? The Scoia'tael deck, which used like the Barclay Brewer combo, like that kind of nonsense, it was so good for so long because people... It took longer for people to realize how to pass against that one. Yeah. Because you need to pass and give them like a medium-sized round. It's a little weird. Exactly.
You got to cut them off before their board is too popular for Vanguard, but not too early or late because you don't want them to have a long round. You want them to drop bricks and stuff.
So as player skill goes up, as you look at like these tournament environments, you see players are better at passing against decks that do that, and that's why you see decks like that Elfswarm deck perform pretty subpar in these environments. They fall off with a good pass. Greatswords doesn't. The thing about Greatswords is it doesn't matter that much when the pass comes down. Obviously, it still does matter, but the whole point of Greatswords is you have the reses. Your Greatsword is strengthened, so it comes back the same. And you're fine in pretty much any round length all around.
Yeah, because, if you take round 1 as long as you want to build your Greatswords, and if your opponent takes it or whatever, they are then put in a pressure situation of letting the great swords get larger if they have no counter. Like you said, specific counters are in there. I personally I don't like playing against great swords. I like playing control because of great swords, because of some of the reveal that you see on the ladder sometimes. I just like knocking all of it out personally. So we're going to see if control or engine is going to be big, and we're going to see if passing is good for tempo games. Swim, thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I'm going to go back to sleep.
Yeah, maybe find NoControl and send them over here. I'd like to know about the organization here. Can I get some NoControl in the house? NC coming in. How's it going in the chat right here? Isam, what's going on? Hello. Wes, Sisa in the chat as well. Celebrate. Wish you could be here. Celebrate, unfortunately, isn't able to make it. So he's in the chat. That's awesome for hanging out. Rogue Digit, what's going on? Crander 47, I see you as well. Gwentique. All of you getting shout outs just like it's my stream, because it is. But we're here live for Commander Soren 84. As NoControl.
What's up, guys?
The godfather, or just the father, maybe. This is your baby, right?
King of the Hunt.
Gwent? The king of the hunt.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining me, man.
What's
How do
going
you
on?
feel about this one? Take me through, you did Wild Hunt 1. You learned a lot. We have a 2-day event now. You've probably prepared your voice for screaming, saying, hey, everybody get to your seats, round 1, round 2. You got more help, more admins. Coming into this event, how do you feel about it versus coming into the event for the first time?
Well, for the first event, I didn't really know what to expect. Like, I had an idea and I had a game plan in my brain, but it didn't quite work out. We obviously went a little bit over schedule.
Yeah.
But we fixed a lot of things that were bad with the first one. We got a lot of community feedback. And we, like I said, we revamped everything for the second one. We got a 2-day event. We got a more streamlined way of getting players in the seats. Everything should be a lot better this time. I'm just excited to see a ton of people here. There's a lot of people here.
There are a lot of people here. This room is pretty full right here. Like cheers. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear it on the mics. There's more people than that sounds like. Some people just didn't cheer, just watching.
Yeah, there's probably like 50 people here.
No, there's a good crowd here, and this crowd is going to continue on into the weekend as well. And you'll have a better view of kind of the whole facility, I guess, on that day, or at least I'll take some pictures for sure at the very least. So preparation-wise, going into a 2-day event now, we know that it's going to be all day one Swiss, and then at the end of the Swiss, we're just going to wrap it up, and then we're going to pick it up tomorrow. Is that how it's going to go?
Yeah, so day one's going to be Swiss. With the amount of competitors, it's going to be 6 rounds.
How many competitors do we have this time?
42, I believe.
42. That's pretty good. That's good.
So
we had that many last time, right?
Well, no, we had 52, but it was just a little bit of fall off because of homecoming and other things. But it's fine. I'm honestly flabbergasted that people just still want to come out and still want to support the North American scene, and I'm just happy everybody's here.
Now, tell me about Mana Burn events. So Mana Burn events is kind of, that formed after Wild Hunt 1, or it was kind of already forming, but what is Mana Burn events, and kind of what is the future of that based on the experience that you've gained doing the Wild Hunt events?
Yeah, so as the planning for the first one went on, I kind of saw like the key players of who helped me out, who did what. And I formed Mana Burn. We're officially a company now, and I brought them on, and we're doing Gwent events for now. We're going to expand to other TCGs in the future, and that's all I'm like comfortable saying right now.
Sure, yeah. There's plans.
But there's going to be more coming in the future of not just Gwent. Gwent isn't Mana Burn, and Mana Burn isn't Gwent.
Of course. It's just kind of like the extra kind of arm to it. It's just the way I look at it. Like I look at my own experience where I started a podcast about Gwent, and here I am. And Gwent basically changed my life. It gave me like a whole new way of kind of approaching what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I feel like Gwent maybe hit you in the same way, because you said you wrote a tweet. You went back to work, but you knew what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's all you could think about once you got back to work. And this is kind of something that you're now building with your own bare hands from the ground up. It's awesome. And it's Gwent kind of influenced a lot of it.
Gwent did influence a lot of it. And, my passion for the game initially did influence everything. But, when I was organizing the tournament, even during the tournament, it wasn't necessarily that I knew that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It was after the tournament and the feeling of completion, like, wow, like, I built this. I did this. It was just an incredible feeling, and it's really hard to explain that to somebody else, but it's just the feeling of, completion.
Yeah.
Like, this is great. I just want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
So
it's a good feeling to do something kind of for yourself, but also bring so many people together. I think it's awesome. I think it's admirable what you're doing.
It's like building something and seeing it to completion, and then sitting there afterwards and going like that just happened. Like I did that.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, when it's happening, it's just like, I don't know. Are you married?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking of, like, on my wedding day, it was like the most. It was like the longest day and the shortest day at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like in a blink of an eye, it was over, and. But at the same time, it was, you have memories and stuff, but it happens so fast that it's like memory erased. It's so stressful and so intense that the day can go by so fast. So
yeah, I'm just hoping that I get burnt out slower this time, because towards the end of that day,
2 days will help you. Oh, we were all feeling it, yeah.
Joe will tell you the story of him coming up to me and asking me a question, and I literally caveman grunted at him. And he didn't understand what I was saying or what I was even alluding to.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember this. But he came up to me and he asked me a question. I was just like, huh. And then that's all that came out.
I love that.
So
all right.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Well, it's great to have you, man. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate
and
you having me,
giving
man.
me a little bit of time here to talk about the event. If you could find Joe Snow, I would love to talk to Joe if he's available. What? Am I sure? I'm sure, yeah. I want to talk to Joe for sure. If he's around. We're all just kind of around right now, my friends. There's a lot of people kind of around. There's some people that I definitely wanted to talk to, because, we are, there's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of people involved in the event here. So too bad Celebrate couldn't make it. But he is here in spirit as well. Hey, it's Joe Snow coming into the hot seat. Now this is.
I don't have my hat on, boys.
Oh, it's Joe Snow, but you got the American sunglasses. Let's put them on. Put them on, man.
Well, these are the only proper type sunglasses. You got to rep the red, white, and blue. I got to fight off like Flake coming from Canada and stuff.
I just want to get a good still of us here. Like, hey, wow.
What's going on, ladies
and
gentlemen?
This is all for the video podcast. All right, so those keep them on. Just keep them on.
Sure. Why the fuck not? Oh, can I curse here?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
not editing any of it, but it's PG-13, right? You can curse once.
You always get one.
Joe, you and I are going to be casting together for Wild Hunt, as we did last time. Swim's going to be part of the rotation as well. There might be some players involved in the finals, as well as, some people will get knocked out, maybe have a chance to sit down. But how you feeling about this event? We're back here in Philly. It's good, right?
I'm loving it, man.
Yeah.
I'm loving the vibe. I'm loving the excitement around it. And I'm really liking to see what the actual Gwent community takes their shot at the band format, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get to see this that often, McBeard. It's so incredible to see the whole community just get their hands on this format that not a lot of people get to play.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't get to ban anything on Pro Ladder. You don't get to ban anything on normal ladder.
You just roll up
so
there and play.
People, like, there are some people here, they're great players, but they aren't in a situation where they can maybe make it to Gwent Open, but they're great players. So actually getting a chance to play in this tournament format, I haven't really think about that. That's actually a really good point of view on the whole thing. And especially because, anybody that's involved in the Swiss can be on this special show match stage. I'm pointing to the show match stage. You guys can't see it, but
all they got to do is keep on winning.
But they just got to be there. I mean, you win, you have a good record. Maybe we try to get people that haven't lost yet to be on the stage, but you get a very unique experience outside of just playing Gwent in your room or whatever in this local space for some people as well. So it's a really good point for a lot of people. But also the fact that we don't have the fixed coin, it makes things very wild. We don't know what's going to happen. You can look at lineups.
Does.
Yeah, I mean, in Gwent Open, you can look at lineups. You can look at the players. You can look at the coin distribution, game 1, game 2. You know what's going to happen. And you can start to maybe you can ascertain, well, it looks like, based on this roadmap of red, blue, that this player is going to have it. But you don't know what that's going to look like. You're off-road for the Wild
try and
Hunt.
look in the eyes of a Trinet who had 5 blue coins at the end of Wild Hunt 1 and crushed the finals anyway.
Well, it did go to 5 games. He had to fight hard for all 3 of those wins against Dr. Gurr at that time.
It really makes it interesting without that diverse format, because you can't plan for being on red, plan for being on blue, and I think that influences deck building to a certain extent.
It does. I mean, I think that Henselt generally always has the red coin appearance, unless you lost for some reason on the red coin and you have to play it on blue. But it's, Hensel definitely has a much heavier impact. And I'm talking about old Hensel, not current.
Sure.
If we even see very much Hensel at all, do you think that Northern Realms is going to be vastly underplayed in this tournament?
I actually do, and I think the players who do play it are going to succeed. My honest to God opinion is that Henselt is underrated right now, and I'm waiting to see the classic Henselt players of North America. I'm looking at people like Quill and Lance to come out that have been constantly finishing number 1, number 2 North America, to come out and crush with the Henselt deck. I really think it's one of the most underplayed archetypes. They took the nerf to heart and they just said this deck is dead, and I think they underrated it, and I want to see when people get their hands on it what they can really do with it.
It's interesting. There's a lot of players that get up to Grandmaster with maybe like underplayed archetypes. I know DG Thunder is in the crowd here. He did it with Moonlight, and as well as he's also a Commando as well. So I'm going to give him a little shout out. I don't see him in
shout out
there to DG Thunder, but there are a lot of players that just dedicate themselves to playing one thing. Like you can even say Ocean Mud, like with Aridin and stuff like that. They achieve Grandmaster. They achieve very, very high rank with their specialty, right? Their specialty. So them having a specialty, as opposed to just being kind of a master of like the whole spread of decks, means that they can bring something that they have so many more experiences with, more matchups, and they can actually do the exploration required in a new meta, even with little changes, to find out the power level of the deck. Maybe exploration that other players maybe just easily dismiss.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that means a whole lot. When you are super comfortable with a deck, you know its ins and its outs and the proper way to play it in every given situation, that gives you an advantage that the other player can't have. Even if maybe their deck in general has a 63% win rate, I would rather play a 61% win rate deck that I am comfortable with. And I know the ins and the outs. I know how to play this matchup, particularly if it's something a little bit offbeat, like a Henselt nowadays or like an Aridin, where you can really take advantage of the fact that the other players aren't really expecting what you're bringing to them. Now you're putting them in an awkward situation, and you're just going to go out there knowing every matchup. Just wreck some face. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I know. The surprise factor is going to be very, very strong in this one. I think that it's going to be, pretty wild. Joe, we're going to have a lot of time to chat over the course of the weekend.
Sir.
My casting buddy. So we're going to be leading off the show, and I believe we're probably going to have the finals as well. We'll be casting that. The last person, the belt, and don't forget the belt. All right, my friends, I think it is time. What are we at here? 8:45. I think it's time for our community section, in which I'm going to invite some more people into the chair from the community, and we're going to hang out a little bit. So I'm actually going to play the community transition. Guiden, come on, man. Come on, Guiden. All right, this is our community section where I'm actually inviting people that are just here that maybe have some sort of presence in the Gwent community, Reddit,
nice.
Discord, Twitter. Maybe they play, they stream. Guiden, you are one of those people. You're asking me, hey, can I come on the podcast?
Yeah,
You're on the
sure, why
podcast,
not?
man. Now,
Nice to see you.
I met you at Wild Hunt 1. You were at the house. You're having a good time. Now, I know we're not going to talk about the stuff that you brought to this tournament, but last tournament, you brought Shoop. You were ready to bring 4 Shoop decks. And what does it take to bring Shoop into a tournament? Talk to me about Shoop in a competitive setting.
Well, first off, you have to really want to punish yourself to come to a community setting or a competitive setting at that.
Yeah.
And just like, you really want to hate yourself. That's one thing.
That's one thing, yeah. Self-hatred, embrace it, of course. Make sure that your opponent hates you as much as you hate yourself.
But, it's a lot of fun, honestly, because Shoop is one of those decks where you can bring a lot of unexpected stuff.
Yeah.
So your opponent really could have a hard time playing around anything that you play.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to play Slave Infantry. You pop
Yeah.
Shoop, you wipe their board. Like, and so it's a lot of fun.
Cool. And now you're known for joking around a lot. I think one of the things that I know you for I've known from you way back. I used to be on the Gwent Discord a little bit more regularly. This guy, if you've ever seen the original Witcher, aka the Hexer, was it a TV series?
Yeah, it was a TV series.
And it's so brutally bad. But you would post like GIFs and pictures of like this weirdo girl with like his eyes are like completely black and effects, like the special effects are just brutally bad.
It was a terrible show.
Did you watch the whole thing?
No.
Oh, you didn't even watch it?
No.
I thought you were like an expert on the whole thing.
I watched like cuts on YouTube, and that's
Okay.
where I got all my stuff. And,
All right.
and I was surprised because when I came to the first Wild Hunt, a lot of people actually knew me from all those gifts that I posted.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, oh yeah, I'm Guiden. It's like, oh, you're the gift guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is it's nice people knowing me.
All right. And you're coming to this now. You're into this tournament again. Are you taking this one a bit more seriously, would you say?
No.
No, you're not taking it
No.
seriously at all. So we have these memers, these I guess, what would you call it? Wild cards, I suppose. Like,
Okay.
don't really know what's going to happen with your decks. But the thing about Shoop is, if you're, I mean, assuming you're bringing Shoop again, I don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows
Well,
what
here's
you're
a
bringing.
surprise. I've actually been talking to a couple people up here, and
Yes?
we formed our own team just
Okay.
for Wild Hunt 2. And we're going by Shoop's Angels.
Shoop's Angels. These are players that have brought Shoop.
I can't go
Can't
into any
comment on
detail.
anything
I'm-
like
I'm
that.
just
We're
gonna
not
keep
going to
it a
talk
little
about
secret.
who is bringing
Yeah,
Shoop and
yeah,
who is
yeah.
not bringing Shoop.
So that's pretty much that's our wild card for this time.
Okay. Well, thanks, Guiden. Thanks for coming on the podcast,
problem.
man.
Thanks for having me
No
on.
problem, man. Devildriven, are you doing anything, man? You want to join me? Come on out here. Bring another Commando, a long time, an OG. This is great. Meeting Devildriven in the flesh right here. My man. Check this dude out. Look at this.
Hey,
You got some nice tattoos, by the way, my friend.
I'm covered in them, man.
Show the stream a
I
little
got
bit.
them all over
You're
here,
all over the place.
All over here, all over.
Devildriven, you are a Gwent YouTuber. If anybody doesn't know, Devildriven on the regular, not only uploading great Gwent videos, but great Gwent puns on all of your thumbnails.
Yeah, man. You gotta have some. You gotta have some fun with it, man. You gotta have. It's a card game, man. You gotta have some fun, you know.
How's YouTube going for you right now? How are you enjoying Gwent in general? I don't
I'm
really talk to
enjoying
you
Gwent.
on
YouTube, I've been slacking a little bit on. I
Little
haven't
bit,
been
yeah.
making any videos. I
Me
haven't
too.
gotten any creative juices since there hasn't been any, new cards. But it's good, man. It feels good to play the game, and this is amazing.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a lot
know
of
if you
fun.
guys, if you ever get a
I mean, I
chance
can't
to come
control
to
the camera. It's way over here. But if I could turn it around, I would just maybe do a sweep. If I do a sweep of the room here, we're everybody's having a good time. Some people are listening to the podcast, but there's lots of stuff to do here. Amherst has like the Gwent board out.
Yeah.
and,
That thing's amazing.
It's
dude.
awesome. Yeah, maybe I can get that on the screen in person in a moment. But you're playing in the event though? You're ready.
I am
You got
playing
your
in the
decks ready?
event. I don't plan on doing very well, but I'm here to support the community. And
Oh, man, you got to go
just-
into it. You got to go into it with. We were talking to Vishra last night. Vishra says he approaches it where he sits down, and the idea of losing just fills him with anger, and he
Yeah.
plays with that rage. You gotta adopt something like that, where it's just like you gotta, you're Devildriven. You're driven.
You can, I'll give you a little tell.
Yeah.
If I'm mad, I will laugh like crazy. So
Oh,
you can't
okay.
tell if I'm like pissed or really happy. You know what I mean? But that's usually how I do it.
It's a
But
frightening personality trait, especially if you're laughing right now. I'm kind of like, I'm gonna move. He's laughing, guys. I'm making him angry.
no, but like I said, it's just an amazing. People that you see in Twitch chat and all the time. Just being here, it's great, man.
Yeah.
I love it, man. It's good to
awesome.
see you, man. I get to see McBeard, man.
Yeah, this is great.
I used to watch there on, I think it was like Sunday mornings, and you would be casting a tournament for swim and dunk curl, and I'm like,
the original stuff. Yeah,
yeah, dude.
the
I'm
OG
like,
stuff, the stuff with the Skype scene switching between Zoom
yeah,
and Skype, and
I'm just sitting here.
I'm
I'm like,
just
man,
like-
this game is awesome.
I'm
How is not
casting a
everybody
tournament.
playing this?
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But
Oh man, no,
that's
it's great. Yeah. Well, thanks for sitting down with me, man. Hope you have a great time at the tournament. Great to meet you, and we'll be chatting all weekend, I'm
All right,
sure.
man. You guys have fun.
I'm sure. Hey, anybody else from the community want to sit down for a moment before we wrap up the podcast? Because I think this is going to be about it. We're talking about it here. Actually, Amherst, bring the board, though. Bring the board over. Because we covered this. So Amherst, both of you come in with the board. Thrilling and Amherst are here. Oh, they're playing right now. There's a game in progress. This is super rude what I'm doing. I'm basically like taking somebody's game away from them to show this. It's in progress. We'll see if you guys can see who's going to win here. This is pretty much going to be brutal for the audio listeners. Watch the light there. Here is the lovely Amherst with the Gwent board. It's really hard to see. There's actually stuff in progress. This maybe is harder to do. What I'll do here is I'll tweet out a picture, guys. The audio guys, you won't know the difference. I'll tweet out a picture. This is awesome. We're getting Thrilling. You guys can see it on the edge of the screen here. Thrilling and Amherst. The lovely Gwent assistants here. Yeah, well, you can kind of see it. Anyway, the point is you can see the scale of the board here. The original Gwent gems here represented by the red because when you lost, your gem would shatter and you'd start with 2. Old school stuff, some score tracking stuff, really good stuff. Really bad for the audio listeners, but for the video and for the live stream, you guys can see it. I'll put a picture of this. I mean, you've seen pictures of it. Check the show notes from the previous podcast if you want to see very detailed shots of the whole thing. Thanks, Hammers. Thanks, everybody. Any questions from the chat, guys? I see Always Turtles in the chat. What's going on? So many awesome peeps. Gwentique asking if I just got outbearded by Devildriven. Yes, I did do that. I did. Guys, I think that this is pretty good. I think this has been a fantastic live podcast. I've enjoyed hanging out with everybody. And now I feel like I'm just treating this like my normal stream, and I'm just looking around, saying what I see. So I think now it might be a good time just to wrap up. But if anybody in the chat has anything to say, I know that there's a lot going on right now in the Gwent world. Sort of. Not really. But this tournament is a big one. This tournament's a big one. Always Turtle wishes she was here. She was here at the last one as well. But I think now is probably just the best time just to wrap it up. So as always, we are supported by our Commandos. Our patrons at patreon.com/CommandersHorn. The second episode of Horn of Plenty went live last Sunday. Greyboxer and I talked about video games for an hour. It was a great time to catch up with Greyboxer. If you've been following the podcast for a while, you do know the Midnight Viking Greyboxer, and that is exclusive content for our silver supporters and above on Patreon. There is Delinsky88 in the chat is asking, who am I picking to win the tournament? I don't think I can do such a thing, but I think that there are some great players coming, some players that are showing up that weren't here at the last one. And I think we're going to give it to the person who maybe brings the most surprise. And I think that Joe's on to something. The players that bring Northern Realms that really spent the time to really focus on it may do very, very well with it, I think. Hello from Ireland, CD Scarn. How you doing? Zerfidus with a great question. How many women are participating this time? There is at least one, possibly 2, based on the guest list. Rendusi, also a Commando as well. Shout out to Rendusi.
Commandos!
She's definitely here, and I've said hello to her. So there's at least one, but I think there's 2, maybe even 3 for a surprise. What time tomorrow morning? Once again, the show is starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, not on my channel, not on this channel, on Nerd Street Gamers. The E in Nerd Street is a 3. Because we are on North 3rd Street in Philadelphia, it's actually N3RD Street. It's actually a really awesome name for a company. So check it out. Hope you enjoy the tournament. Joe Snow and I are going to lead things off with the beginning of the Swiss at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Nerd Street Gamers. And I think that'll do it for everybody. So thanks again. Once again, you can find me at McBeardCH on Twitter, at CommandersHorn as well on Twitter for the podcast. McBearded on Twitch, you're watching the show right now, and McBeard on YouTube, where I will be exporting this within the next day or so, and I'll try to get this audio to the feed as soon as I can. I am traveling right now, but I am going to be able to probably get this live on all of our channels as soon as possible. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoy. Hope you have a great night. Hope you enjoy the tournament. And until next time, this is McBeard. Best of luck on the path. Goodbye from Philadelphia. Is outro music still playing? It's still live, right? Yeah?